Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and I would bring my microphone out, but we're gonna use the microphone that is on GarageBand. But how y'all doing? It's February 2nd, about to be 3rd, and my guest tonight, I have frequent collaborator and friend and brother in art, Kenya. What's good?
What's up? They can hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, you guys? How's it going?
Oh, yeah. I wanted to dive into a lot of different things. So I'm going to put this title as Clubhouse versus Twitter Spaces. Um, just so I could get some little things with that. But what I wanted to dive into is, for one, to look at how dope January was to start off 2021. It was super fire, and just what is going down? What are some theme words that you're thinking about for 2021?
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's an awesome year, guaranteed. I think it's going to be a big year. A lot of different things going on. If I had to say what this year for me about is, it's the return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac.
It's the return of the media, Kenya. Because I honestly think, even though I've been highly visible, I've just been publishing the behind the scenes of getting to where I am right now. So, yes, I was posting because I made it my mission to post so that I could have the best chance of building a real thing and still making some money while I was building, so that I wasn't completely destitute after a long period of research and development. I have all my behind the scenes on tape. I have my process on tape to a certain degree. And I cut my teeth doing what I actually want to spend my life doing. While before it was while the circumstances weren't ideal. And now I really do feel empowered and grateful that I can really return to the desk, my station, and really deliver in the media universe and make some waves and actually focus on not just building, but performing.
That's that makes me think a lot of, when thinking about Twitter Spaces versus Clubhouse. I just heard of Twitter Spaces today, and I was hearing.
Is that what you asked me about, or did you ask me about myself? Because I hope I didn't just turn it into myself.
Oh, no. It's a combination. No, but though, because when I think about those two platforms, so if you don't know what Twitter Spaces is, everybody, it's basically like Twitter's version of Clubhouse. But the way I heard it detailed is that platforms like Clubhouse are a feature. And before we got on this podcast, Kenya had mentioned TikTok. And when I think about TikTok as well, I'm just all like, oh, you know what? With Instagram dropping IG Reels, it's just all like, well, dang. I think TikTok is a feature platform as well. Like, these are extensions to already existing platforms that are created before the platform's created. Like, they're just all like, oh, wait a minute. Well, let me just add this feature to an already established platform. That's why Instagram can sit up there and drop a TikTok alternative with IG Reels. That's why Twitter can sit up there and drop a Clubhouse alternative with Twitter Spaces, and we'll see. as far as what ends up happening with that. But the contribution, you know, when looking at, for example, you know, I'm looking at this year and how this year has been going so far. It's like I turned 30, I released the song that got put in a local publication, the San Antonio Current, you know, and it was about something that was hyper relevant in different ways, you know, and I think that the when looking at contributing, it's like how are you contributing to the art that you practice? Because, you know, the funny thing, not the funny thing, but an interesting thing is why I have repeatedly been on a platform like the Current. And I think about the music that I make. And I'm just all like, well, that kind of sets me apart from other artists because I really am not just going to put out a track that doesn't have some type of, you know, the way I look at my music, honestly, is just like thought pieces, you know, and when you think about thought pieces and you think about what an article is, pretty much these are just like my it's like a diary slash article post, you know, as far as with this music, you know, and infusing it that way, it just allows me to come at things from certain angles, you know, and realizing with these platforms and understanding like it's just like, man, another platform, it's like understanding what you're wanting to do. I think if anything this year it's just all like what will actually make you happy, you know, not what will make your family or your significant other or anything like that. What what will actually make you happy? And if you don't know, it's not a problem, but now you know that you need to be on a quest of finding that.
Exactly. You know, I'm not sure if everyone is at the same level of maturity to even to fully understand that, though, to be honest. Because when I think about what people sometimes think when they think about what will make them happy, I'm not sure if they're always on the right, if they're always on the road of enlightenment. And I think, so like it's interesting. It's like, how do you decide then? Like, you know, and I think, you know, maybe healthy is almost better. Like, what will make you healthy? I know that because you will be happy if you're healthy.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what will make you healthy? You know,
it'll make you emotionally. Because if you're emotionally healthy, then you'll have the appreciation to understand, you know, yeah, what is a reasonable goal for you to have ambition-wise, and then, you know, physically, you'll be able to be content with stuff. You won't be fidgety and stuff like that. Physically, if you're also physically healthy and stuff like that. But if you're emotionally healthy, you're also able to help understand relative physical health and like, okay, how can you be content with only one arm? But you know, it goes down. But yeah.
You know, it's you know, I look at it and I'm thinking about this year and why gratitude keeps on popping up, but also, you know, like you said, you know, healthy. And I think that by understanding what makes you healthy, you know, like not everyone else, what makes you healthy, you know, and being able to have that discipline, you know, like, yo, this is, you know, and it's finding that line of the majority. It's just the majority of the time. So many people are trying to like cut themselves off from like enjoying aspects of life. It's just like the majority of the time. The majority of the time, are you being healthy? Like, and if not, like, that's more than likely the root of all of your problems. Like literally, if you break it down and you look at all the problems that you're having and you start digging to the root, it more than likely has to deal with how healthy or unhealthy you are physically, mentally, emotionally.
Legitimately, it's almost interesting because, like, with this one, Twitter was, I remember when Twitter dropped by, this is kind of ironic because I actually wrote an article that about it, and I was like, Twitter dropped by, so to be making a podcast, Twitter is dropping spaces. It's fascinating. Also, I think it has very much to do with how, like, current Twitter is. Twitter, like, you hear about stuff that Twitter does immediately, because it's a platform of immediacy. It's interesting. It's cool to me that they latched onto the Clubhouse platform idea because, I think Twitter is actually a very strong platform, and it's weird to see them kind of like just give up ground to Facebook when, I don't know. It just seems like, yeah, there's so much that they could do. This is the first time they've really added on to their ecosystem at all. They did the whole moments thing, but that didn't seem like a true navigatable thing. I don't know if that's even still there. I don't pay attention to it, but it would be cool to see. Spaces is fun. Voice platform. I don't mind that they're opening it up slowly, just like Clubhouse, because honestly, if they did it, it probably just works better like that, so that the voices aren't all crazy in the beginning, and it allows people to form some sort of order in the community and hierarchy, and then as far as etiquette rules early on, that might be really important to this style. And I think it's good. I think we kind of get down on ourselves for being so negative, or like having issues as a society. But I'm like, we've had issues forever. Like you can't see all of them. And I'm sure the stories come out very nice, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure people had way more issues, before there was air conditioning than they do now. Maybe air conditioning or comfort makes us crazier, but I don't know. I doubt it. And I think we, just like reality TV or any of these things that we think initially make us look disgusting, I'm like, they're not making us look disgusting. These things aren't plagues, or even like tabloids. Tabloids are bad for us because they kind of encourage us not to evolve. But a lot of these things, I understand that we're worried about them, but I think the good thing is as long as we remember to do work on them, and it brings up the media thing again to my mind. I'm like, if we make media, it's really about making media a serious thing. Media is not supposed to be owned by business. Media is, I don't think is, they call media the fourth estate, or they say journalism is the fourth estate, but I think all media is the fourth estate, fiction included. And it's just as important as government. It doesn't need to be legislated because we need to be strong enough to decide what we're going to spend our time, attention, and energy on. You can't force people to make a decision like that unless they're ready. So you kind of have to leave it open, unlike government. But within reason, but I think we work on a lot of stuff in media, and I think media, even in, I'm fascinated by, as space it becomes more of a reality, how much we start using media in some of these more dark situations. Like I think, and as media becomes more prolific, I'm interested kind of also right now, what are soldiers watching? Like I wish I could have the data of what soldiers watch, because I'm really interested in how we use media to navigate our higher senses, our more civilized aspects of ourselves, and how we use it to reflect on our character and change our character.
And this goes back to profile, because when you're bringing up like character, and I think about character profiles, and the thing is being able to, when you think about the pro, because when I think about as an entrepreneur or a business person, and the different profiles that you have to navigate through in a day or a week, it's important to set, what those profiles do. What is in those profiles that you have access to? Like, what when you're in those profiles, what is it that they do? You know, and I think that that's what's so interesting about these platforms. So profiles and platforms is very, very interesting because it makes me think about crafts, aircrafts, space, like ships and planes and different things like that, because they have the platform that they land on, and then the profile is going to be the different angle. So it's just all like sometimes you're going through these different platforms to find a profile that you resonate with. So you're on these platforms, these different foundations, these different apps to find an angle of being able to connect with people.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I think at the end of the day, these are all community platforms. And I think, especially when I look at what Clubhouse to me is less of a social media and more of like the Institute of Psychologists, doing constant reviews on the state of social topics and anxieties and stuff like that. Because I'm like, these aren't casual conversations. You're creating these things, but it's great. It's allowing so much work to be done on a scale that's never happened before. The only problem is people overestimate what can be talked out. A lot of things actually need to be researched out. And so what can you really do in a talk basis? And what people are attempting to do sometimes in these places are almost enforce a sort of mob regimentality or something like that. I'm just, using my poetic skills to attempt to explain it. But I think it's not always steering itself towards objectivity. Sometimes it's doing the opposite. It's just like a collective subjectivity.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and it's interesting you brought that up because it's just all like it does allow for the conversations to be had that aren't always structured out. But it doesn't mean that there's not room for it. There's plenty of room. What we're just seeing is like people getting on this app or these apps and just doing something. It's a Clubhouse. Think about this. Okay, this is an interesting question. What would your ultimate Clubhouse consist of? If you're a kid and you're creating your Clubhouse, what would be in it?
That's an interesting question. Oh man, slides. There'd be lots of slides. A chemistry lab. Let's see. TVs. Yeah. Rocket launcher. I mean, there'd be a whole bunch of stuff. Anything that I was allowed to have for free. But I mean, okay, so I guess if I was thinking about an ideal place where I was able to just hang out with people, I would love for a Clubhouse to be in a place where it's like hybrid outdoors. There's like trees a little bit there, and then there's like some places to play video games, some places to play ping pong, some places for really a lot of different sports. Because I love playing sports with people. Really, if I could like play like ping pong with my friend, and then go play tennis with my other friend, and go play football with my other friend, and go play some soccer with my other. The gaming arena. It would be mostly sports and games. And I remember when I was in middle school, there was actually this really cool after-school place in Mill Valley, California. And they had like a TV and games and stuff like that. And I was like, what? This place is really cool. I also want to bring a little bit of it. I guess you were asking for a point. So, but yeah, that's my idea.
That brings up a good point, because you just mentioned things that ultimately have to do with other people,
Right.
And so understanding what would be in your actual clubhouse, Clubhouse is just like a template, all of these different platforms are templates for something deeper that people are wanting. That's there, that's in front of their faces, but it's still, of course, not the physical thing, but what can you, not even convert, but what can you translate from a physical clubhouse that you would want into a clubhouse application type of execution?
Right. And I think that's what they're doing. They're starting with the most difficult part. I think that even though we think we've done a very good job, there's parts of technology that are not at all like real life. Like in real life, it's very easy to have a conversation with a lot of people in the room because we're very skilled at it. We learn how to do it over time, and there's depth in a room. And, so you can whisper to your friend, while something's going on and not have it be distracting. And there is, lines of sight, so you can see and navigate different spaces in a lot of different ways. Online, we still haven't gotten even to that level yet of just being able to have it be the same as if you were sitting in a room together. And so I think we're iterating with technology, it's a singular, one-dimensional, well, I don't know about one-dimensional, but it's relatively one-dimensional. It's a singular, two-dimensional, maybe, channel, right? If we were really talking about replicating even just the vocal part of it in the room, maybe you have 5 different channels, and you can change the volumes on all the channels. The channels are set to prioritize certain people's voices to like mimic proximity, which would actually be fine because that's good for our attention spans.
All right. And so what I want to do is, because I just I have some herbage to smoke, so I'm gonna end this podcast. But before we end the podcast, I just want to let people know that you can order the composition Prerolls at dapco.com/shop. But ultimately, I just want to ask y'all, what would be in y'all's ultimate clubhouse? And also, how are you making healthier choices this week? So make sure to follow me on the socials, Instagram at Graffiti the Mind Son, SON, and of course dabtro.com. If you want a black-owned social media site, download Unite the 99. I'm on there as well. But yeah, Kenyo, go ahead and drop them off with some ending remarks and your socials.
Yes. Ending remarks. Oh, I'm glad you said that because I think there is something very fascinating about the residential terminology of a lot of these apps that sometimes we don't think about, which also makes LinkedIn kind of an interesting option and wondering why, how much we'll move more towards that and what stops a website like Etsy from becoming a social media website or something like that. Anyway, you can find me, you guys, at www.kinyo.org, not .com, .org.
.org, son. But yes, this is episode 92 of season 2 of the composition, y'all. I'm gonna do this all the way up until episode 100, and that's gonna end season 2. And we're gonna take a little break and revamp, new and improve for y'all for season 3. But yes, make sure check out Snowed In, available on all major streaming platforms. The visualizer's out. The one-shot music video is dropping soon. Yeah, make sure to check out the merch. Got hoodies, got sweatshirts, got t-shirts, all the shirts. And yeah, and again, the composition CBD pre-rolls coming for y'all. JK Rolling. All right, y'all. Peace.